Hello and kind of welcome back. Just a very quick one on the kind of releases for today. So just kind of going to go through that and a couple of other things that Warcom / Games Workshop have kind of explained and said. So yeah, and that one, there we go. So today is all about the Guard, Astra Militarum, whatever you want to call them. So they have again shown us 3 detachments, 2 are new, 1 is a rework, 1 is a significant rework. First one is Abhuman Auxiliaries, which is something I kind of think a lot of people are going to like, mostly because it allows you to order Bulgarin, Ogrin and Ratlings, because they have a new keyword. It also, as the detachment rule says, has the Abhuman tag, and you can't join up with any other Abhuman detachments, which again is either kind of a thing that will be made clear when we get the update for 11th, or it's future proofing. I don't know how many of these overlap detachments there will be when the new edition drops. There might be none, and it might feel a bit weird, and then they'll release a new detachment and it will make sense. But yeah, so for this one, as I kind of said, you can have a commissar issue the take aim order, so that's in addition to 1 order to a friendly Abhuman unit. So you can also throw +1 to hit onto a regiment unit, so can give another unit of guardsmen just +1 to hit, which is always useful, especially with stealth and how cover will work. +1 to hit, I think, for guard is going to be really important. And yeah, so that's the main part of that detachment. Basically lets you order the new tag Abhuman. Pretty useful. The enhancement is really good, especially as it's upgrade. You can only take it on a commissar model. Thankfully they didn't think, let's let Bulgarin have a 4-up feel no pain, but you can take it up to 3 times without it taking up 3 slots, is the way that upgrades work. And you can then give that commissar a 4-up feel no pain, which is pretty useful for allowing the commissar to be a bit more survivable when kind of people are probably trying to kill him off to stop you ordering the Abhumans. And then we have the strat of low profile, which is 1 CP, and in your shooting phase, when a friendly Ratlings unit has shot, that Rattling unit those range attacks do not prevent your unit from being hidden. So basically they get to shoot 1 CP, stay hidden, so they kind of like ultimate sniper-esque kind of attack. I mean, it's cute. I don't know whether people will have the CP economy. It depends on how much Ratlings do damage-wise, whether it's worth it, but it's nice to be able to at least keep them alive, keep them up in a building for +1 ballistic skill for plunging fire, and just kind of take a few shots, pot shots, and kind of go with that. And that is the Abhuman Auxiliaries. Again, these are pretty small detachments. There isn't, for each of these, kind of in case people didn't realise, there is not going to be the same amount of stratagems or the same amount of enhancements. It's why the detachment rules are very niche and very small, because of kind of what we'll get onto towards the end. I'm just curious as to what Rattling datasheet is. So you kind of have 5 sniper rifle shots or some kind of low damage anti-tank. It's not bad, I guess. If they're hitting on 2s with the plunging fire and heavy, semi-useful character sniping. Again, obviously they are only strength 4, but AP2 is going to be pretty important in the next edition. I think it will just depend on how much they kind of cost in the next edition. I don't think they're going to massively change, but we shall see. Again, it's not that long until probably it all comes out. We then have the reworked bridge strike. So we have the detachment rule of fire zone purge. If a friendly Militarum tempestuous officer is your warlord, friendly tempestuous scions have battle line and +1 OC. So this kind of massively limits down on what can be your warlord. So it might have impacts on maybe other detachments for guard, where certain things only work if X is your warlord, or for things like Lord Solar, he has to be your warlord. I can't remember off the top of my head with Yarrick whether it's the same for him, and if that's the case, then it does kind of limit you down quite a lot on that side of things. But what it does give you is battle line and OC for all of the Scions units, which is pretty good because they're generally quite good, and being able to take 6 of them, you know, is hardly a bad thing. Scions obviously have been quite a staple in a lot of things. I don't know if Kaskin, do they have that keyword? No, because that's why they're called Kaskin. So it does allow you to bring a lot of Scions. But yeah, you then have the enhancement, Militarum Tempestus Officer only. You can do a first turn ingress. This is the second time we've seen this, and something that's really big about ingress that has kind of been covered and I missed is that unless it explicitly says that you can ingress in the first turn, you can't do it in any form. So things like the Lion, the Mandrakes, Calidus Assassin, you can't uppy down them turn 1 anymore, in the same way that it works for Space Marine Scouts or the Votan bikes currently. It's going to be the same for everyone, so that's quite a big shift for that. So it makes abilities like this pretty big to do alpha strikes. We've already seen that there's the Speeders one for Space Marines, now got the Science one, and they're going to be hitting on +1 to hit if they were set up, so kind of similar to now I believe, but very strong. We also have our first 2CP stratagem. Firing hot when your shooting phase, when a Tempestuous or Kaskin unit is selected to shoot, that unit, your effect is the hotshot las carbines, las guns, las pistols, marksman's rifles, volley guns, sentry hotshot volley guns, as long as you are within 12, have +1 strength and AP, so that is really good, because there will be +1 to hit on the Tempestuous units, and then +1 strength, +1 AP, potentially +1 on top from take aim. Very good, because AP now, even AP1, is really quite big because of the fact that of the changes to cover. So I think, yeah, I can see why that's 2CP. It will be interesting to see how much kind of an impact it has, but it's definitely not what Bridgehead was when it was originally released in this edition, but it kind of adds a little bit of diversity to what the Guard can do, and again is only a small detachment. It is not going to be a 3-point detachment. And then we have the last one shared today, which is Designation Force. Designated targets. Friendly Scout Sentinels or Infantry Smoke units have the following ability. Signal flares in your shooting phase. You can select one visible unit within 12. That is designated. While a unit is designated, that unit has a +3 inch detection range. Again, same thing. This one has recon tag. Can't take it with another recon detachment. The current recon guard springs to mind as one that might have the recon tag. So with the detection range, it allows you to tag a unit and then make their hidden range +3. So it's going to push them to 18, so make it a little bit easier to see them. The Space Marine ones also yesterday in their Phobos Unit 1 had a similar thing. It will be interesting to see how much of an impact this makes. It will depend obviously on the speed of your army as well as how far back the enemy is staged. The reason it's useful on Scout Sentinels, as well as the fact the new Recon Guard unit that was showcased yesterday has the smoke keyword, so it'll allow both of those units to be infiltrators. Due to the enhancement for the Scout Sentinel Long Range Scout, it has the upgrade keyword, so you can have up to 3 of them, or up to 3 units. They have infiltrate, which is pretty cool, and yeah, it means you can get that designated turn 1 and not have to wait, so that's how you kind of get it going straight away. And you throw a Scout Sentinel into kind of the lines of the enemy and just be a little bit annoying and in the way. And then we have Sump Smog Screen for 1 CP, start of your opponent's shooting phase, an Astra Militarum infantry unit. When an attack targets either your unit or a unit that is not fully visible to the attacking model because of one or more models in your unit, that unit has the benefit of cover. Cool. So it basically gives cover on a stick. This is also what they have said that the smoke keyword allows for. Is similar to this, is that if you can draw a line of sight between the enemy unit and your unit, and then you have a smoke unit in the middle, and it crosses that, the smoke keyword will then also work on your other unit, so kind of gives another dimension to smoke. But yeah, that's kind of that detachment. Again, the reason all of these are quite minimalistic, and there's kind of 2 sources there, both of which are Warhammer official. So they have revealed today that all of the new detachments featured in the series that kind of I've been going through on the Warcon website will cost a single detachment point, which means that you could put all 3 of these ones from today, Designation, Bridgehead and Abhuman, together to create a 3-point detachment overall. Or the Space Marine ones. The Space Wolf one is the one that I'm kind of most interested about so far, just because of the implications for it, which I know I'm going on a tangent already, but the fact that you can do the on-demand heroics still costs you CP, it's not free, so you can't, do 30 of them with 30 units because it's unlikely you'll have that many CP. You can then have buffed Terminators, you can then also have the Grey Hunters, so that's quite cool that you can mix and match those together. The fact that you can have the Dark Angels one with the +1 strength, the Ravenwing units including the Land Speed of Vengeance, which is plasma, so +1 strength on that, is quite interesting. And then also have the Battle Shock one. I think the biggest problem when you're combining all 3 of these together is balancing the army to take advantage of all of it. Might be the biggest challenge, where kind of you're making sure you take enough for each army, each part of the army, to ensure that it's actually being used and worth taking. Again, it will be interesting to see how many there are that are 2-point detachments. Ones like Gladius, for example, will be 3. I genuinely don't know how for Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights they're going to make a 1-point detachment, because you have kind of Imperial Knights now have 4 class of knights, I guess. You have the Cerastus currently, you have the Questoris, where you then have the the Valiant and Castellan, I can't remember, and then you have the Armiger, and then you have the new Destriers one. So I guess they could do one for each chassis. Chaos Knights, you have the kind of the 4 variants, so there is, I guess, a bit of room there. But it'll be interesting to see for armies like that how they kind of create 3 1-point factions. Similarly for Custodes, I'll be interested to see how they do that without kind of unbalancing things too much, where it's a limited data set. Drakari, I can imagine quite easily there'll be a Coven one, there'll be the Witch Cult one, and then there'll be the Cabal. It's fairly straightforward. There could be one, I guess, that specifically focuses on the Blades for Hire, your Scourge, Incubi, Mandrakes as a detachment. So there is ones like that. Eldari, I'm kind of intrigued as well, because we've already got detachments in the Codex that are focused on different parts: the Guardian Battle Host, the Aspect Host, the War Conclave, the Psychic one effectively, goes to the Webway for the Harlequins. So yeah, I'm interested to see with those armies. But the last thing for today, tomorrow we'll find out a bit more about Tyranids, so it'll be interesting to see where a lot of what they're going to get, because a lot of Tyranid players have kind of been playing mostly the same thing since the start of the edition. With Invasion Fleet, there kind of have been a few peaks into Crusher Stampede occasionally, mostly in teams because of the stat check nature, and then also the Subterranean Assault. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of detachments they get. Again, if you have watched, followed along, listened, please make sure you do like, share, subscribe, just to kind of help this grow, because again, wanting just to support newer players to 40k and just provide a source of information that doesn't advertise to you and kind of just gives you a summarized point